Welcome back to that Heartbreak Hogs podcast. Sid, let's talk more Sam Pittman and what this game means to him. But before we get started, if you guys are new here, never before seen that Heartbreak Hogs podcast video, this is the first time that you're here watching us, please consider hitting the thumbs up, subscribing to our channel. We have a lot of fun here. We love the Razorbacks. We love talking about Razorback football and Razorback basketball. So please join the community, help support a small channel, and let us know what you think down in the comments below, giving ideas for topics and just what you think overall of the podcast. It really does mean a lot to us. We like to read our comments. We like to respond to people and just interact with everybody. With that being said, we're going to get back to this video and talk about Sam Pittman and what this game could mean for him. I'll start off here real quick, Sid, by saying that I was a little bit down last week on the episode talking about Sam Pittman. Inconsistency has been really disappointing for me as a fan. And I've talked about this many times. I do believe that Arkansas is a better program than a 6-6, 7-5 team. And I don't think the goal should ever be 6-6 and 7-5, especially in year 5. So for me, you got to get to 8 wins. And I still believe that, because here's the thing. We have short memories as Hog fans, and I feel okay now because we won. If you lose to Ole Miss, you lose to Texas, and, I know that would already kiss 8 goodbye. If you lose to Missouri too, if you only get to 6, it's just not going to feel good. Now, beating Missouri at the end of the year, that may help a little bit, finishing it off on a win. But I really feel like you got to get this Ole Miss or Texas to get out of the bottom half of the SEC. If you want to feel good about Sam coming back, you got to get out of the bottom half of the SEC. The other thing is, it's not for sure that Bobby and T. Will are coming back. It's just not. And if one or both of them are not coming back, I don't know what the fan base, what everybody else is going to think if we cannot be consistent and be in the upper tier of the SEC. So I'll start there. Sid, what are your thoughts on that? Do you have some other thoughts about this game? Any disagreements with the whole 8-4 scenario?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm sold on the 8-4 scenario, but let me start off with before this game, we had talked about
Mm-hmm.
him winning games that he needs to win. Even at the start of the season, when we started talking about Pittman, we had talked about he needs to win the games that should be W's. There
Right.
should be no that we should not be taking L's on those games. And
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State for me, and I think both of us, and I think a
Yep.
lot of people, was that game where
And you took care of business.
exactly he had to take care of business, and he did exactly
Yep.
that. So I don't know if it tells me a whole lot, um, besides what I said last week, in that um, great that he did take care of business. We're on the same page though, where he hasn't done enough
Yeah.
for me still as well. For Arkansas fans, as you've mentioned in the past, it should always be. It shouldn't be mediocrity. We shouldn't be living for mediocrity, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's 7 wins or 8 wins or whatever that number is.
Yep.
The
And none
goal
of
should
those,
always be
yeah.
to get to the college football
Well,
playoffs,
playoff.
right?
Exactly.
Especially
7 and 8
now.
wins, that'll never get you to the college football playoff.
Exactly.
Unless they really
Um,
expand that thing,
yeah.
you know.
And so I know you meant like this season, but I think um, overall, this season, we'll talk about it when it gets to the end of the
Right.
season. There's a lot of
Yeah.
predictions that we can make, whether we win
For all we
both
know, we
Ole
could win
Miss and
out.
Mizzou.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what you said last week too. Um,
Yeah.
and we're 1-0 right now,
And we're
so
1-0. We're on
um,
track.
we're on track. Um, but yeah, whether I can see it being a Ole Miss loss or a Missouri win, or a Ole Miss win and a Missouri loss,
Mhm.
or a Texas win, like one of these guys, just to get to that 7 or 8. I think those schematics I'm trying to keep out of
Yeah.
it because it hasn't happened yet. And
7 might be okay, like, if you finish with a
right,
win, like, if you finish, like, that's the last thing fans remember. I think it would be harder finishing off a loss, especially to a Mizzou team that it's like,
right.
"Bro,
And
they do
bowl
not
games
look
too,
good."
right? And
Mhm.
and just a bowl game, because we had talked about his overall record, and I think I was seeing that his overall record right now, he cannot go below 500, even if
Yeah.
he at this point in the season. So great, but again, we keep going back to that mediocrity, and this season, I think he was able to stay on because he brought in the hype,
Yep.
with Bobby P, and with obviously T Will was here, but like with just having a increased momentum,
Yeah.
and still doing better than we were last year. So the hype is still there, and that's why I think the Razorback fans are still not ready to, and me as well, not ready to let go of them yet.
Right.
Um, but as you've said many times in the past, Razorback fans have short-term memory.
Yeah.
Will we remember that going after Ole Miss, if we talk about it next week or the week after or at the end
Right.
of the season? It's all going to depend on how this season turns out, and um, what he has done to prove himself that he does belong as our head coach,
Right.
not just on the win and loss columns, but also in terms of the smart decision he makes as a coach. And
Right.
fans should not be just afraid to play the Razorbacks, but play against their coach. They should be,
Mhm.
not fans, but players should be. Other teams should be afraid to go up against
A Sam
Pittman.
Pittman coach team. Yeah.
Exactly. Like no, like I'm just throwing this out there, but like
Right.
Nick Saban, when you were gonna go play Nick Saban, it
Yeah.
wasn't just the Bama team. You were like, okay, this
It's
is a
Saban.
Nick Saban, and I want that be to be for Pittman as well,
Right.
or whoever our
Coach
head coach
Cal.
is.
Coach Cal is like
Um,
that for Arkansas. Yeah,
exactly,
for
and
basketball.
people rethink. Oh, this team is serious, and
Mhm.
so there's a we cannot be the joke of the SEC, or we cannot be the joke of
No.
college football as our head
Yeah.
coach.
Right.
Um, and so, and I'll leave it at that. At that for this week,
Yeah.
going into Ole Miss, prove that you can go in and kind of hold that attitude in terms of I am the best coach on this field right now.
Right. You
It's
know,
not
I
Lane Kiffin.
yeah, it's not Lane Kiffin. Please don't let it be Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Oh man. You know, Sid, I actually really liked that analogy of, you know, fear the coach, not just,
Mhm.
the university, but Sam Pittman needs to have that reputation here. We want to have that coach that's got that rep. If you ask other fan bases, would they want Sam Pittman? There's very few that would say yes right now.
Mhm.
Sam Pittman is not a hot commodity whenever it comes to if he were to leave Arkansas, I don't know what other university would want him right now. What fan base would want him right now? And
Yeah.
it's up to him to change that. I'm not saying it's going to stay that way. I'm not going to be over here saying he's not going to do it. Da 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 da. I don't know. But this right here, like every game is a must win, this game will show a lot about are we mid, below mid, or above that mid mark. Because Ole Miss is right about in the upper middle of the SEC right now.
Yeah.
They're right there. And if we can slide right in front of them, That is a heck of a move from last year to this year and looks really good on Pittman. Um, I'm not saying don't root to beat Texas or anything, but if you can beat Ole Miss, and let's just say, you know, you beat Ole Miss and then you take care of Mizzou, because I kind of put them around the same camp, Mizzou and Ole Miss.
Hmm.
That to me shows a lot of the improvement in that it's heading in the right direction. If we can't beat Ole Miss and we can't beat Mizzou, it's just like Tennessee seems like a fluke. It would
Exactly. That's
seem
what I
like
was
a
just
fluke.
gonna say, that the being the mid part of it is absolutely, like, you're hitting the nail on the head. If we don't beat Ole Miss,
Right.
I'm not even just as a Razorback fan, like any fan or anyone that's watching this game that's outside of a Razorback
Yep.
fan will I can see themselves saying in their head, "This is exactly who this team I thought they were."
Yep.
I had no expectations for them. I had no like I Yeah, this is exactly who I know they can win games like they're supposed to win, but
Yep.
they cannot win these games that are close
Mhm.
battles and they will find a way to lose. That shows me
Right.
exactly what any fan, even outside of a Razorback, um, just if you watch college football, that shows me what they would be thinking.
Mhm.
Um, and so Tennessee exactly did prove that. Okay, I'm sure people around the nation were like, college football fans were like, okay, this Razorback team
Yep.
could be different, but now if we do end the season off with just L's that we were
Mhm.
gonna be close on, and then W's that we were gonna be
Right.
W's on, it's gonna be going back to exactly Tennessee was a fluke,
Right.
um, and Pittman is Pittman, and there's nothing
Right.
bad about him. There's nothing great about him.
Right.
There's
Just
only
mid.
average about him. There's only mid about him. So
Mhm.
that's not what we want as Razorback fans, to take out all the football fans now. That's not what we want as Razorback fans
No.
as well. We need these wins, just to prove to not ourselves, to prove to the nation also that we are a team that can go out and beat the teams that other people don't think that we would win against. I
Yep.
mean, being a 7 point underdog, should show you that, hey, like, we're better than them. Tennessee, we're even bigger point underdogs than them. And
Yeah.
like, to show the nation that, hey, we are able to beat and this wasn't a fluke is going to be huge for Pittman in this game.
Yeah, honestly, I think the 7-point spread is pretty disrespectful. Especially after what happened last week, how we just put up 58 against a Mississippi State team that, yeah, they don't have any SEC wins, but they've fought in every game. They put up 31 against Georgia. They gave a fight to Texas in Austin, and the Georgia
Hmm.
game was in Georgia. Um, I understand that the LSU performance looked bad. I get that, but it looked like that they had Arkansas has bounced back, and I really hope that they have some fight this weekend and that Sam does get that victory. I'm rooting for him. I hope that he wins out.
Yeah.
I'm just putting out these scenarios of inconsistency has been a problem under Sam Pittman. We just lost two tight ends that had great tight end that we had great depth players, and I don't know if this is happening around the rest of the SEC, but it just seems that some of our depth players seem to be kicked off the team. And consistency is being an issue with this team
Well,
staying
that's
focused.
exactly, but that I wouldn't put that not on Pittman completely. Is in, if a player makes mistakes, that will they should they be held accountable? Yes.
Well,
I don't care what
100%.
any other
Yeah.
team does. I mean, every team should have that same mentality.
Right.
Um,
I'm just kind of wondering, is this something that other players are getting kicked off, the team, because this isn't the first time that this has been happening. This was happening last year too, that all of a sudden in a press conference it would be like these guys are off the team. And let's not like mistake ourselves here. Varkey's gums was going to be a big deal to this offense. And, I don't know if the culture problem is him. I don't know if it's just that, we don't know the situations, and we're not going to ponder on it. I wasn't meaning to
Yeah,
hit that so hard. I was just
yeah,
putting that out there is on top of the Mississippi State, or not Mississippi State, I'm sorry, Oklahoma State letdown. There have been other letdowns in Sam's, the one score game stuff where,
right.
you know,
I'm I
these things
agree.
are piling on. And
I
this is
agree.
an opportunity for him to change that narrative. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at is, can you change that narrative by beating Ole Miss and showing that
Yeah,
Tennessee was not a fluke? Showing that LSU just caught you sleeping or caught you with an injury bug in Taylen Green. Show them that we are capable of competing in this conference.
exactly. And do what is in your control. We're
Hmm.
not saying like those players shouldn't be punished if they committed
No, and I
whatever. Like,
apologize if that's
yeah,
what it
yeah,
sounded like.
yeah. Do what is in your control, and there is a
Yep.
lot in as a head coach. There is a lot in your control. Not I'm talking about like holding players account. I mean, yes, players should be held accountable,
Yep.
but in terms of as a head coach, you know what your job responsibility and you know where your duties are to kind of ra- rake in the team, kind of believe, have a make the team believe in you, make the fans believe in you, not make dumb decisions on the field and coaching plays where
Yep.
these things can be in your control, and you just have to kind of prove to all of us in the nation that in those key things you are the best and you can go out and show that you're the best.
Yeah. 100%, man. And they're capable of doing that. This is Sam Pittman's opportunity to change the narrative. I'm not rooting against it. I'm okay if he changes the narrative. I want the Hogs to win. If that means keeping Sam Pittman, if he's winning, I don't want him out of here. I don't think anybody
Right.
should want him out of here if he's winning. But we got to be honest with ourselves. What do we want as a program? Do we want mediocrity, 7, 6 wins a season in year 5, and a no
And
guarantee?
I do
Uh,
think he loves the Hogs, and I honestly I don't see him going anywhere else
yeah.
if he does. I think he's 62
Well,
at this
Mike
point.
Anderson loved the
Um,
Hogs too in basketball.
that's fair. But I think he's 62 and he's got other concerns where I think if he doesn't pan out here, I think he does retire. But again, not rooting for
Yeah.
that. I just
No.
think
No.
he is gonna he's said this as well in the past where this is where he wants to be, this is where he wants to stay,
Yeah.
and this is the only team he wants to be on. So I do believe that. I just hope he can prove that.
Yeah. No, I'm optimistic. I do feel like he's got an opportunity, but let's not kid ourselves here and be okay with losing if that's what happens. You
Hmm.
know, because again, we should be competing for college football playoffs, and we should, in my opinion, I believe that Arkansas has the resources to make that happen. If they have the right guy in place, I think that they can funnel in the money needed to make that happen, get the coaching staff to make that happen. Because again, I'm going to mention this, there's no guarantee that Bobby Petrino or T. Will are coming back next year. So, especially if they get to 8 or 9 games in that range, you don't think other teams are going to be coming for him either for head coaching jobs or, you know, uh,
Yeah.
or coordinators? Georgia could be knocking at the door for some of these guys. Smaller schools for head coaching opportunities for T. Will or Bobby. You know, there's just no guarantee that we're going to keep these guys. So we've got to really think, here off of what happens, what is best, moving forward with the coaching staff. And I think that they've got a plan. I think Juracek has got a plan. I think the Coach Cal hire really changed the narrative about what the sports are going to be like here. And yeah, I know it's comparing apples and oranges with basketball and football, but I do think that the athletic department does have a plan, and I think that the right moves will be made at the end of this year, whatever that is. We're just speculating. What are some scenarios? I'm hopeful that we beat Ole Miss, and I think that is the right path to be on. Beat Ole Miss, prepare for Texas, give them a battle, and see if we come out with a victory. Losing to Ole Miss will be a setback. Let's all be honest with ourselves here. This would be huge for Pittman's, resume to say, hey, Hog fans, you guys should be wanting me back. Ole Miss this game and Mizzou. These are the two games that if you're trying to, politic the fan base, these are the games you need to win, in my opinion. Texas, again, every game is a must win. We want to beat Texas, but you can still come back for another year, I believe, with the fan base excited if you can get by with beating Louisiana Tech, Ole Miss, and Mizzou. So, anything else that you wanted to add on to that?
No, I
Any
think we've hit
disagreements?
everything. No disagreements, and I think we've hit everything on the head. Let's just go and hope that we are, like you said earlier in the past video, we're at 6-3 and we're at top of that SEC leader pack, towards the top at least, um, and not just that mediocre level because that
Yeah.
6-3 is a big difference between six and 6-3 and 5-4. So
Mm-hmm.
let's
Yep.
see it.
Yep. So let's go get that W this weekend, and we'll talk about it, next week. And hopefully we're sitting here going like, the man did it. He did it. He proved them
Yeah,
all wrong.
we got a bye
Hopefully.
week next week, so
Yep. Yep.
yeah, let's
So
do it.
hopefully we're going into the bye week with a lot of optimism. So because oh man, yeah, maybe a tough bye week if they take an L, but hopefully we get that W, and we are going to head out of here. We're going to start talking about some basketball in our next segment, and then we will be recording a predictions where we like to do a spicy foods challenge where fortunately for me, I've been eating the spicy food, but we're going to do another challenge here in a little bit, and we'll see who wins it this weekend. With that being said, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let Sid and I know what you think down below about Sam Pittman and what this game could possibly mean to him. If you're on the 6-6 train, the 7-5, 8-4, if you are below 8-4, even if the 7-5, I'd really like to know why. Again, just the mediocrity thing for me, year 5. But anyway, I'll cut this video off now, and we will see you guys in the next segment. That Heartbreak Hogs podcast is out.
See y'all.